So I'm sure you've all heard the only constant is change. The Greek philosopher, I'm going to try to say his name right, Heraclides stated, "No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river, and he's not the same man." So from the moment we are created in our mother's womb, we start changing and never stop. That is the human experience. Growing, learning, evolving, it's this beautiful, amazing thing. But it can also be a scary thing. When we recognize that it's what we're destined to do, and we understand it's part of who we are, then we can learn to thrive in change. We can learn to embrace it and see it as a guide to our path. Welcoming each experience, knowing we will grow, learn, and evolve from it. It's not something we can stop. It's who we are. Humans develop fear of change. We started fighting it. We tried to make things in our lives stay constant. We got confused and found comfort in keeping things the same. We convinced ourselves that if we found the perfect home, the perfect spouse, the perfect job, the perfect things, we could lock it all down and then just hold on, not let anything else mess it up. But that doesn't work out real well for us because that's not who we are. So it's going against our nature when we try to hold on to things and make them stay the same. I mean, you can see it all around in the world, around us today and in our own personal lives. Whenever we try to hold on to something and not let change come in, we have resistance. We deal with issues that we weren't expecting because we're fighting. We're not supposed to be fighting. We're supposed to be thriving. That's what we're here for. So when we're fighting things, things go awry. I personally grew up on Disney, watched a lot of Disney movies, and the whole find your prince and you're happily ever after, and that's just supposed to be the end of it. Such a false illusion of what life really is, and can really get you confused when your life doesn't play out that way, right? I mean, it sounds good on paper, find the things that make you happy, hold on to them, and life will be great. But we are not stagnant beings, and there is no perfect scenario. We can strive for it, but it's not going to happen. But we are so much more than that. We limit ourselves when we convince ourselves of this. So as a collective, we have to really change the narrative around change. So I have 2 grown children, as you guys know, and we like to have deep conversations. Sometimes we get into really long, deep conversations, and I like to use things that we got going on in our life as examples for them. So we're gamers. We like to game a lot. We play a lot of video games, board games, every kind of game there is, we love to game. So in the last year, my son got me involved in a game called D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, for those of you who don't know. And it's kind of funny because growing up when I was a kid, I was raised in a very strict Baptist home, and I wasn't allowed to know anything about D&D. It had this stigma on it that it was this bad thing. Of course now, fast forward, I've learned that that's not the case. And in playing this game, it's been amazing because it's been a great tool for me to work with my kids. Because in D&D, you create a character, you have other characters that are with you in the game, you go on this quest together. The person running the campaign knows what's coming ahead, but all of us on the quest have no clue. We could come on to all kinds of things on this journey. And we have a 20-sided dice that we roll, and even if I made my character the strongest, smartest, most amazing character there was, that dice can roll a bad number, and it won't matter. I won't be as good at what I wanted to be good at. And I thought, kind of like life. You might think you're all prepared for everything and you got yourself all set, but life's going to roll a dice and throw you something you weren't expecting. And you've got to learn to just roll with it. You're playing the game. We have these characters, we might not know them. We get to know them along the journey. And these characters start to play roles in our journey. They help us, they support us, we lean on them, and vice versa. And I thought, when we're born, into the world, we're given characters. Our parents, our family members that we don't know when we're born. And we get to know them, and we get to see how they play a part in our life, on our journey. So it's very similar, you know. And so I talk about this with my kids as a great example of how life is a quest. We have no idea what's ahead. And we find these characters along our way that help us, support us, people we can lean on. And it can be quite an adventure. The not always knowing what's coming can be exciting if we look at it from that perspective. Sometimes we get scared when we face these challenges. But the more challenges we overcome, the more changes we face, the stronger we get, the wiser we get. We level up the same way in D&D. You level up. I know Lena's talked about that before. And so we can look back on challenges and changes we've overcome and see how we got through them and see how we now can do it even better than we did before because we've learned, we've grown, we've evolved. All the challenges are a reminder of who we are and what we're capable of. And just because something we've never done before doesn't mean we can't thrive at it. Just because something is scary doesn't mean we won't grow from it. Luckily enough, we have these angels and guides with us everywhere we go. And so anytime we are feeling scared, we just have to ask for help. Help me understand, help me see the path, help it be clear for me. You know, and they're there for us. They're our backup characters that we may not have right in front of us, but they're always there. And then we have to remember that all the answers that we are seeking are always within us, right? Like we have the answers. But the biggest step in accepting and embracing life with all of its changes is learning to trust ourselves. Trusting that we can handle anything that comes our way. Trusting and believing that you are a spiritual being. Yes, you're having a human experience, but that's exactly what it is. You're having an experience. But what you are is a spiritual being with a direct connection to the divine. The divine is always with you, always protecting you, always watching over you, always loving you. There's nothing you can't handle. Are you kidding me? There isn't a change that's going to come your way that you can't get through. Because you were built for this. This is what you were made for. You were made to constantly be changing and evolving and growing. Like, it never stops. You're never going to get it right, perfect, and that's okay. Because that's how we learn. That's how we evolve the consciousness. So if we take away all the expectations of, am I going to do it right? Am I going to be able to handle it? And we just go at it head first like, I got this. I have no worries because Divine's got me, the angels and guides got me, and I'm a spiritual being. I can handle anything that life throws my way. That's where we can make peace with any change that comes our way, and we can see it as a guide. All these changes that are constantly coming, they're giving us a guide to our path. So we just got to trust it and trust ourselves. I know that can be a hard thing to do sometimes. We second guess ourselves. We're unsure if we're going to make the right choices. But if you can quiet that noisy brain of yours, tell it to take a break. I know I've told you guys this before that I like to talk to my brain in my car. You know, I just tell it, hey brain, I know that you think this, but this isn't true. So you can just be quiet right now. Because I know the truth. I know the truth here, deep inside. This brain's just something that's here to help me, but can also be a hindrance. And it's not running the show. The divine is running the show. My spirit is running the show. And everything else is just my journey, my quest, my challenges that I'm meant to face. And there's nothing that I can't handle, and there's nothing that you can't handle. So as you go forward in this year, every change that comes your way, take it with pride. Say, I got this. And don't let anything scare you away. Because you do have this, I promise you.